I think the idea of the posthuman, that humans will modify, self-modify with emerging technology of all kinds until they actually speed up evolution and transform themselves into a new species, is possibly a bit exaggerated, because futurists always overestimate the degree of change that we're going to see. But is rapid technological change, and it means that there will be significant changes in how we interact with our world and with machines in the future. Our relationship with machines will be much more intimate in the future, to the point of not just carrying technology like smartphones in our hands, but also wearing smart technology and carrying it more commonly inside our bodies. We already incorporate therapeutic devices like pacemakers and artificial cochlea. And I think soon we'll also incorporate devices that don't just compensate for some physical or mental loss, like the artificial cochlea does, but instead devices that enhance some part of our mental or physical capabilities. That kind of surgery is already on the verge of happening, or is happening in some experimental ways. A lot of artists do this. You probably know Stellark, and he modifies his body surgically already. Also, there's an English scientist, Kevin Warwick, who also does this. He's one of the first to modify his body with technology by implanting things. And they were very simple things at first, but those two people are good examples of people who are already willing to do this and to take the risks of having surgery and implants in order to enhance what they can already do. Yeah, so I think in the future, it depends on the person, how much risk they're willing to take and how much money they have to invest, but I think this kind of thing will probably happen. I would say that I think humans will always be human, and they'll probably look mostly human. The predictions that are around of uploading our minds into a robotic body, I think are unrealistic for at least a couple of reasons. First, that kind of idea ignores the fact that we don't even know what constitutes the mind, where it is in the body and what it is. And second, that idea of uploading our mind into a robotic body assumes that the mind has nothing at all to do with our bodies. And that's an assumption that many neurologists are increasingly thinking is wrong. They think the body matters for our consciousness. But in the future, I think the body will be heavily modified. And so we'll have more pieces of digital machinery in us, but whether we'll look different, I don't know. That depends on how our ideas of aesthetics change over the years. We could end up thinking it looks cool to look more machinic, but I think that in the near future, probably not. I think the humans who choose to adapt to the new technologies, and I think importantly, who have the money to do so, and I'll say more about that in a minute, will be the leaders here. There will be humans with modifications such as the ability to communicate directly from their brain with machines. They'll have enhanced memory because of digital implants, enhanced physical capabilities because of things like exoskeletons, and better health due to genetic enhancements. There'll be extremely smart robots helping us too, not just with practical things, but with personal things as well, like health, housekeeping, and even sex. But humans will still look basically human, but like a human with modifications. One of the big problems that I and other ethicists see is that, the question is who gets the goodies, who gets the modifications? Well, in our society, it's always the people with money and power who get them first. And in this case, if you get people who have a lot of money and power getting the benefits of really powerful technology, that's bound to increase their power and increase their money, and increase the gap between those who have and those who don't have. So this is a real problem in the future. I think that one of the things I promote is that with emerging technology being adopted, that there also be some government, some sort of governing concept of how to supply everybody with the possibility to get these enhancements. whether it's government financing, which would be very difficult here in the United States, or some other type of financing by maybe the corporations that make the things.
Yeah.
And Bill Gates, to his credit, has already, his foundation already helps with that kind of thing, providing technology for people who can't afford it. So I'd like to see more of that. Interestingly, I've just produced a book on this with sociologist James Hughes. The book will be published at the end of this month, actually. And the book is about automation and the future of human work. We see future jobs for humans as highly integrated with machines, and also that these jobs, any new jobs, will require more education. So any manufacturing jobs will require that humans be augmented by implanted technology. There are already 2 prototypes for this that I can think of. One is what Elon Musk has called neural lace, and it's a fine mesh developed 2 years ago by a Harvard scientific team. This fine mesh is a microscopic antenna that's so small that when it's folded up, it can fit into a syringe and be injected into the blood through the carotid artery. It travels to the brain, unfolds, and the brain incorporates it within 2 weeks. Then the brain can communicate directly with digital devices. Now, this has been tested in rats, and it works within 2 weeks with no side effects. So the second innovation is by Theodore Berger of University of Southern California. His team has found a way to convert human brain waves into computer code. This has allowed him to replace damaged brain memories with implanted digital chips. And the implanted memory is not only a big advance for those suffering from diseases like Alzheimer's, but also a possible enhancement. Humans with these kinds of enhancements could work efficiently directly with machines via wireless, Wi-Fi from the brain to the machine. In the short run, I'm an economist as well, and my specialty was the economic conditions of the late 19th century and early 20th century. And if you look at that age, it's almost an exact replica of our age, where technology exploded and all kinds of new technologies caused new types of industry. And what happened was humans lost a lot of jobs initially. For the first generation, for about 25 years, humans' jobs reduced. People that made things for horses and carriages, for instance, buggy whip makers, makers of the wagon wheels, they went out of business. People that made horseshoes. But then those same people about 25 years later, once people came up with new jobs, new ideas for using the industrial capacity, more jobs were created. This concept is called creative destruction, that jobs are destroyed, but then more are created by the new technology. I think what's going to happen in the short run, based on what's happened in the past, is that in the next 20 years, we're going to have a lot of job dislocation, a lot of people without jobs. The conditions maybe will be very bad and social disruption may occur. But I think in the long run, we'll have that same creative destruction where 20 years from now, 25 years from now, we'll have industries that we can't even imagine. I'm trying to imagine new industries by what I just said before about, direct brain-to-machine communication using neural mesh, which is a new technology. That's one possibility, and it's only something I can imagine. But I think most of us will have jobs in 25 years that we can't even imagine right now, and it'll be highly collaborative with machines. Yeah, like that. I think both of the innovations I just mentioned provide huge opportunities, but also some risks. The neural mesh and the implanted memories provide a big ethical risk. These kinds of technologies, for one thing, think about implanted memories. You can help somebody with that by, say, an Alzheimer's patient. You record their memories before they lose them, then re-implant them digitally once they've lost them. That's helpful. But what if I wanted to give you a fake memory? I could capture you, give you a pill like Rohypnol that makes you forget what I did, implant a memory that wasn't yours, and then you would have that memory and think it was yours. And this isn't just theoretical. The researchers at USC actually did something like this. They took a rat that had run a maze and memorized it, took out, coded its memory onto a chip, and put the chip in a rat that had never run the maze. They put the rat in the maze, and it knew the maze. So it got this implanted memory that for an event that it never happened for that rat. If that happens to a human being, just imagine the ethical problems there. The other possible ethical problems are the ones I mentioned before, which are who gets these kinds of technologies. Will they be distributed equally to everyone, or will the rich and powerful get the good stuff and become more rich and powerful? Let me give one more example. There's a self-driving automobile, which is being developed very fast over here in America. It presents great opportunities for safety, but also great ethical difficulties. Because if a car drives itself, it's going to have to make instant ethical decisions in emergencies, right? So how is a car going to do this in a way that satisfies us as human beings? If I'm in a car, if you're in a car and it has just you in it, and it suddenly has a situation where it's got to choose to kill 3 pedestrians or kill you, what kind of decision is it going to make? And how do we get it to make a fair decision? So right now, philosophers and computer programmers are trying to figure out a system for doing that. And the ethical difficulties are immense. So that's a risk.